Hello JavaScripters, Bruce here with a Saturday morning video. Don't mind the noise in the background. This has to do with the New York Times application and the drop-down for the various sections. Now mine is biggie size here, just for demo purposes, but if you remember from class, right, I had hard-coded in the example that I did all these various sections. So somebody asked me on Slack, do you have to hard code these, right? And the answer is no, you don't. You can actually use one of the APIs that they have, the New York Times. So I'm going to do New York Times API. Let's do section list. Not working. Let's go here. So in the API, there is a way on the left here to get the list of sections. But, right, here is the endpoint, the URL that you'd have to code into fetch to do this. But, just so you know, right, if you go in the upper right-hand corner and you go under your list of apps and you find your particular key, you'll notice that you have all these different APIs. And I had you turn on the top stories one with this little slider button here. But in order to use the sections thing, you need to have this API, which is called the Times Wire API. And I learned that just through, I don't know, reading the documentation a bit. So when you add that, right, see I can click it, you need to click on the Save button in the upper right-hand corner. So when you add additional APIs that can be accessed with your key, you want to make sure to save them, okay? Mine are saved already. All right, so let's go look at the code. Now I'm not going to show you my API key here because that's my API key, right? So I just created a select element right here on line 11, and it's got a name attribute and an ID attribute, right? I don't even need the name attribute because I'm not dealing with a form submission here. I just have a select control on my web page. So I have a, excuse me, I have a URL defined, which is the API endpoint along with the, let me take a sip of coffee here. Hold on. Coffee with my API key. And then I use a fetch operation, very simple one, where I go get that URL, I get a response back, and I convert that response to JSON. That promise then gives me some data back. And then I'm going to build an output string here like you've done a million times before. And when I was doing this, I needed to log out the data that I was getting back to the console just to make sure it was working. And then I used data.result because, let me just show you this, right? If I comment this out and I go back to this page here, you can see here, let me just try this one more time. You can see here this thing that comes back, it comes back with a property called results that is an array, right? It's an array. So I'm going to use data.results, which contains an array, and then I can use the for each high order array method. That's what they call it, high order array method. And then it's going to give me back an item, and I just chose that variable name. And then I just build my output string, which contains the option, HTML, the value, and then the item.display underscore name. And if you go look at, right, these objects, you can see here display name and section. Do you see that right there? All right, and then I just do in one fell swoop, I say, hey, go find that element with the ID of section and set its inner HTML to this stuff right here. And then magically I get this list right here. Now I don't know what admin does, so you may want to not include that one, but I don't know. But everything else, look at that, and your code should still work because these are all valid sections of the newspaper, right? And just so you know, right, this isn't just specifically like a New York Times thing. I'm sure there are other newspapers, right, that have APIs that allow you to access the information. So yeah, that's it. So this is how you can build a dynamic select that will allow you to not have to hard code information in your web page. Think of this as a portfolio project. I keep beating that drum. So have a great Saturday. And if you watch this video, if you get to the end, just let me know. Leave a reaction or a comment on Slack where I'm going to post it. Again, have a great day, and thanks for watching.